Welcome back to the team rating series. We have our 8th guest today, and it's Holly Shan to see if she can make podium. We'll let you build your team and we'll see how you come out at the end. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm excited to see this in action.
Who is your starting goalkeeper?
So I've gone with David Raya at Brentford for $4.5 million. I know the goalkeepers have been more favourably priced this season, but I can't get away from my tried and trusted strategy of a set and forget goalkeeper for game week 1. And I've seen that Brentford has signed Ben Mee in the transfer window, so hopefully he's going to be helping to strengthen that defence, because they did have a couple of injuries towards the back end of last season, so that should solidify things. I like Raya's save percentage rate. I think he was second to Jose Sarr last season as well, and a great run of opening fixtures to start the season with, so he's a good long-term pick.
My one question I'll ask everyone who picks Raya is, does Strakosha worry you?
No, because I actually met the Brentford second team coach the other week, and he said that it's not an issue at all. Raya's number 1, so...
Well, there we are. You don't get better than that. Talk about dropping FPL alpha on the channel. I love that. So everyone go and put Raya in your team. So who's the 4 million keeper you've got beside Raya? I'm
just trying to mix it up and go with someone that's low owned, that's got a nice kit. So I've actually gone with Willy Caballero at the moment.
Who is your first defender?
Trent Alexander-Arnold. Probably one of the first names on my team sheet this season. I'm still in disbelief that he's only 7.5 million, because it got up to 8.5 million last season. So I think it's crazy. 14 attacking returns last season, top chances created of any player in the Premier League. And Liverpool's fixtures are lovely as well, so it's just a lock. He's an easy pick.
He's an absolute no-brainer, and I'd actually love to dig in and see, has every guest picked him so far? And I don't blame them for it. Trent in there, love it. Who's next?
Andrew Robertson have gone for the double up. I think in terms of points scored in 2022, he's actually outscored Trent. I think he's 4th or 5th of all players. Again, he got 14 attacking returns last season, same as Trent, but in less minutes. So the stats aren't as great. He does overperform his stats, but I think the fact that I've managed to secure another top 100k finish last season with Robertson's goal right at the death made me think, well, got to have him again this season. And I love the Liverpool double up given the fixtures.
I heard Trent underperformed and Robertson overperformed his stats massively. So even if they equalise a little bit this season and both kind of play to their stats, having both them, so it's amazing. It's great fun for watching Liverpool. Fulham first game week, then Palace, United, whatever, then Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, Wolves. Yeah, I love it. Who's your third defender?
So I've gone with João Cancelo. I've gone for an expensive defence with those 3 in, but another name that was kind of one of the first ones on my team sheet, just because of the amount of minutes he gets for Manchester City. I think he got the most minutes of all their outfield players last season. So he's pretty nailed on. He's attacking as well. And, best defence in the Premier League. He was an easy decision. I think he's more than justifies his price hike this season.
If you go for Reece James, your proper template to start off the day, who's your next guy?
I've not gone Reece James at all. I've not got Chelsea defence. I've gone with Tomiyasu at Arsenal. A little bit of a headache, the fact that he's not got involved in too much pre-season action yet. So, and may need to change him for another 4.5 million option, but I would probably stick on the Arsenal defence with Saliba if I needed to. But I just think, Arsenal were one of the top defences in the Premier League last season. They've got great opening fixtures. So to be able to get a slice of that Arsenal defence for just 4.5 million, it gives you funds to use in your squad elsewhere. A little bit of a spoiler alert there. But I'm quite happy to play any Arsenal defender at 4.5 million every single week at the start of the season and just lock in the clean sheets. I don't think he offers much attacking-wise, but, we could see a string of 6-pointers from an Arsenal defender to start the season. Yeah,
it'd be interesting there with Tomiyasu. If he isn't getting the game time, you're probably going to have to pivot. And if I use this tool here to look at the first 4 game weeks and the predicted points, Lamptey comes out on top. And we all remember how electric he has been in the past, unfortunately for injuries. But Dunk and Veltman, the Brighton guys, do come out kind of up there around Tomiyasu. Who's the 5th filler?
So I'm a little bit concerned now. You've shown me the 4 game week prediction that the man that I've chosen as my 5th defender and another 4.5 million option, Johnny, is not on there. But, I do work and do a lot of FPL content for Wolves, and I get the impression Johnny is going to be a mainstay, either fullback or wingback, depending on what formation they go with this season. I think he's going to be a mainstay.
I think the thing as well with this tool people need to realise is, these predicted points are based heavily off people's predicted minutes. And obviously, I think Johnny had an injury last season, but if it turns out that he is going to be a nailed starter, obviously that'll flip around very quickly and he'd shoot up these rankings. So if you think Johnny's going to be starting games, I think with games like Leeds, Fulham, Bournemouth in the first 5, like Newcastle in there too, other than that Spurs game, he could be a great choice. We've seen him score okay in FPL before.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's another one that I'm probably going to have to play most weeks in the formation that I'm choosing. It is going to be 5 at the back. So looking at those fixtures, maybe I might need to find another option somewhere for the Spurs game and tweak the formation. But 5 at the back for 4 of the opening 5 game weeks sounds pretty good to me.
So we're on to midfield, but first I just want to let people know, if you click the link in the description, you don't even need to sign up to Hub, and you can give this feature a try over in the toolbox. You can go over, pop your team in, let us know your team rating and what predicted points you got in the comments. And if you do want to sign up, there's never a better time on Hub. 50% off now. It's limited time offer. So if you're going to sign up this season, you may as well get it done, because I think that expires before the season starts. Holly, who is your first midfielder? I'm imagining we're going to start with that main man, the Liverpool guy.
Yeah, exactly. Mo Salah, first name on the team sheet. You know, he's just sensational, isn't he? And last season, we saw him start the season really, really well, having had a full pre-season. We've got that situation again. Obviously, he played a lot of minutes last season for club and country across, you know, a load of competitions. We did see a drop-off in his performances this calendar year, but he's got that new contract now. He's had a few months off. He's well rested. I think we could see something similar to what we saw at the start of last season, where I think he blanked in like 1 or 2 of the first 16 game weeks.
Salah's locked. Don't need to explain why. He's in every single team. Who's next?
So I've gone a little bit risky. I've gone with Gabriel Martinelli at Arsenal because I really like his price. I really like the fixtures. He took a penalty over Saka at the end of last season. Obviously, I would love to have Gabriel Jesus in this draft, but we have to compromise somewhere. And I'm hoping that Martinelli can kind of cover him. Although, you know, the FOMO was getting to me early on in pre-season of Haaland's ownership. Now it's moving on to Jesus and his ownership. But, you know, I think Martinelli could be a gem this season. And certainly over the opening few game weeks. I mean, I can always hop off him if, you know, he starts to get rotated. But Arsenal haven't got any midweek games until game week 5, where we've got the first midweek round of fixtures. So I think hopefully we'll get a few starts out of him to start the season. And I am kind of looking towards an early wild card with this team anyway.
Who's the third choice in midfield?
So third choice is Pedro Neto, because I think he's a massive bargain. And I think he's got a little bit more credibility having had a good game in pre-season, which is what we need to see from him. But, you know, obviously last season he missed lots of the season through injury. But the season before he got the injury, he was on fire. He got 5 goals and 8 assists. And, you know, he could make a mockery of that price tag if he manages to emulate the form we've seen from him previously. And great fixtures again, as we've mentioned, for Wolves, and, you know, even against Spurs, I'd be happy to play him.
You've 2 more slots in midfield?
Yeah, and it's getting towards something that's not quite as excited, but I've gone with Andreas Pereira as my 4th midfielder. It is a 3-man midfield, really. So he's in there just to provide the value. It was nice to see him playing in like an attacking number 10 position in pre-season we've seen already. And he's on some corners. I don't think he's going to get much game time for me in my team right now, particularly because of how poor Fulham's fixtures are to start the season. But I think he's as good as any option at 4.5 million. And, you know, he's there on the bench if you need him as a solid first sub.
Absolutely. And who have you went for the 5th slot?
Josh De Silva at Brentford, who's 4.5 million as well. Another one that's maybe like a bit of a misprice because he was out all of last season with injury, but is one of the more attack-minded players in the Brentford midfield. So I've just taken a little bit of a punt on him at the moment, a blind punt, if I'm honest.
You have a lot of money left in the bank and there's only 3 slots left. So is this could be I'm sensing this is going to be one of the few THREEMIUM drafts we get in the MyTeam rating series, especially with I could probably build the rest of this team myself, but go for it. Spoil it for us.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I did a lot of looking at strategy for this season because we've got the option of playing an early wildcard. Everyone's going to have wildcarded pretty much by the international break. There's an opportunity to wildcard early around game week 4 to game week 6, which is what I'm looking at with this draft, with going THREEMIUM. The difficulty in that is, you know, it takes up a lot of the budget. I would like Son or Kevin De Bruyne. They would be my first picks from Manchester City and Spurs, but to spend an extra 0.5 on one of those players is tough going. So I've gone with Haaland, even though I think De Bruyne is the better pick, because I want to go THREEMIUM because I want to captain a Man City player in game week 2 at home to Bournemouth. and in game week 5 at home to Forest.
You know, in midfield, you can get away with the Netos at 5.5 and you can chance a Martinelli at 6. I think it makes sense to go for like a Haaland and Andreas over a De Bruyne and like a 4.5 million rag forward. Do you know what I mean? So I see why you have to go that way. So you're obviously going for Harry Kane with your other slot.
No prizes there for guessing that one, but you know, I think Spurs do offer great utility in terms of some of their early fixtures. It's annoying that they play Chelsea in game week 2. However, I do think that Kane could have a great start to the season. He's on penalties, so that is a plus over Son. And I think in terms of goal involvements this calendar year, he's topped the metrics over Son, even though Son has maybe scored more goals. So in terms of the goals and assists that he can provide, I think, you know, it's going to be fun to hold him and, you know, go into any of these early game weeks thinking I've got all of the big 3 attacks covered with my premium players.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I think people are sleeping on Kane, and I know it's Kane and everyone's aware of him, and I'm not saying anyone is actually not aware of him, like as in properly sleeping on him, but equally his ownership versus Haaland for me. I am saying it every video now, and I'm 99% sure I'm going Kane over Haaland in my first team. I don't think I'm going to start with Haaland, which might be mad with his ownership, but yeah, well, look, best of luck. Actually, no, I don't want you to have any luck there because I'm likely to be without him. You have a 4.5 enabler to stick in up top. Who are you thinking? Greenwood?
Well, yeah, like most people, I've plugged in Greenwood at the moment, but I am going to be keeping an eye on minutes in pre-season because the trouble is with Greenwood, he's so highly owned that when managers then shuffle the pack and transfer Greenwood out and upgrade him, he's going to drop in price quite quickly. So if he's not getting involved in that Leeds United attack, then I may just go for another option like Plunge, for example, at Crystal Palace, who seems to be doing bits in pre-season while Zaha is absent. So not terribly exciting, that third forward slot, but that's where I'm at the moment.
That's where you're at. So look, Holly, we're going to click the button and see what your team rating is and your predicted points. Before we do that, who's your captain going to be?
Mo Salah.
Mo Salah. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's see how it comes out. 93%, 66 predicted points.
That sounds good. Anything over 90 surely is good.
Yeah, no, it is. I have to say, we're sticking with the trend here, and I'll spoil it very shortly, of the FPL experts leading the pack, top of the table. So 66 points in game week 1. Would you take that now?
Yeah, probably.
You would?
I'm expecting big things from Salah, so I feel like he could, as captain, maybe provide half of those points alone.
Well, I have to break your heart. You have come in 4th place. You're not on the podium. You won't be getting a medal this time round. You're behind Big Man McCarr, who's top. FPL Salah. Flapjack got 94%. You drew with Director, who also got 93%, but our tiebreaker goes to predicted points. He had 64.6 predicted points, so you had more predicted points for game week 1, so you slot into 4th place.
Thank you for the rating.